There are over 4,000 varieties of chilies out there, and that number is growing every year. That's across more than 30 species. Today we're going to explore the 5 most common, look at what makes each of them unique, and maybe we'll learn a little something together. Chilies have been part of human diets for over 6,000 years, originating from the Americas. They've spread across the globe, influencing cuisines and cultures along the way. First up is Capsicum Annuum, probably the most common species of chilies. Despite the name Annuum meaning annual, these plants are actually perennial and in warmer climates can be grown year on year. These plants are generally medium-sized with green stems. They have simple ovate leaves, and the flowers, they're usually white. The fruit have a wide variety in shape and size, from large bell peppers to slender cayenne. The heat level, this can range from 0 Scoville units to 50 to 100,000 Scoville units. This species is incredibly diverse, with bell peppers being used in salads and stir fries, jalapenos being used to kick up the heat in a salsa, and cayenne being used in quite a large number of sauces that you probably have on your shelf at the moment. One recipe I love to make with bell peppers is stuffed bell peppers. Take a bell pepper, fill with a savory mix of rice, meat and spices, then bake until tender. And if you want to spice it up a little bit, chop in some jalapeno into the meat mix, and it's just gorgeous. And super easy meal to make as well. With regards to sauces, there are so many out there. One of my favorites to make, and it's again very easy, is salsa verde. This is a fresh, tangy sauce made with jalapenos, tomatillos, garlic, and cilantro or coriander. And it's perfect for tacos and dipping your chips into. It is delicious and very healthy for you as well. Now on to possibly my favorite species of chilies, the Capsicum Frutescens. Frutescens means shrubby, which kind of describes the way these plants grow. And some of the common varieties are things like the Tabasco, bird's eye, and of course my favorite, the peri peri. The plants are bushy shrubs with many stems, and the leaves are quite a bit smaller and narrower than with Capsicum Annuum. And the flowers, they're normally white around the edges, but the inside, they're a green or even a yellowish sort of tinge. The fruits are small and slender, typically growing upright, but this isn't always the case. The heat level is generally quite hot, from around 30,000 Scoville way up to around 200,000 Scoville for some of the hotter Capsicum Frutescens. My CC peri peri or chili chum peri peri gets up to around about 175,000 Scoville, so it's a hot one, but man, it's delicious. Talking of delicious, some of my favorite spicy dishes use Capsicum Frutescens chilies. I absolutely love Thai food, and meals as simple as pad Thai use the Thai bird's eye chili. And so many other dishes in the Thai cuisine use Thai bird's eye, of course. Sauces, one that you definitely would have heard of is Tabasco sauce. This is one of the most common sauces out there in the world, and that of course uses the Tabasco chili, which is a Capsicum Frutescens chili. Now on to the scariest of the chili species, the Capsicum Chinense. Despite the name Chinense suggesting it comes from China, these chilies actually originate from the Amazon basin. All the hottest chilies in the world belong to this species, including things like the 7-pot Primo, the Primatali, the Jigtali, the Carolina Reaper, and possible new contender for the hottest chili in the world, the Warthog. The plants are normally medium-sized, but can get rather large depending on how long your season is, how big your pot is, or where you're growing your chilies. The leaves are fairly broad and they have a bit of a wrinkled look to them. The flowers, most of the time they're white, but they can have some variety as well with a little bit of a green tinge to it. There actually are some other colors coming through as well on some of the Capsicum Chinense varieties. The pods are wide-ranging. There are so many different types out there. Typical ones like the Scotch bonnet have a bit of a bonnet shape, so like a bell. The habaneros are a bit more elongated. The ghost pepper or the butcholokia, they're also a little bit elongated and they start to get that bit of a gnarly look to it. And typically the hotter chilies, the real spicy ones, they have a very gnarly look to them, very wrinkled up, and oftentimes will have also a little stinger at the end. Now there are actually some heatless Capsicum Chinense varieties, things like the habanado, which they look like a normal, maybe a habanero, but they have absolutely no heat at all, so could get a bit tricky with that one. Capsicum Chinense chilies are typically quite fruity. Sometimes they can have a bit of a floral taste to them as well. And there's a very distinct Chinense flavor to it. You'll know what I'm talking about if you've ever had one of these. And some dishes that go great with these things like jerk chicken. It's a Jamaican dish and uses Scotch bonnets. So good. I'm actually not a big fan of Scotch bonnets themselves, but jerk chicken tastes amazing. Some sauces that you can make with these, a fantastic combination is habanero with mango. Just goes together just beautifully. So give that a try next time you're making a hot sauce. Mix that in together. You got the spice, you got the sweetness, you got some tang. Perfect. Next up is the Capsicum Baccatum species of chilies. These are prominently used in South American cuisine. Common varieties are things like the ají amarillo, the very popular ají lemon drop, and they have a very unique, very fruity taste to them. These plants grow rather tall and they can get fairly massive if you give them a long enough season. I find that they tend to fruit a little bit later than some of my other varieties, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. They actually can tolerate colder temperatures than some of my other species of chilies. Not a bad thing if you live in England like I do. The flowers are white with a distinctive yellow or green spots on the petals most of the time. These can actually get quite hot, and I find that they burn quite differently to some of the other chilies out there. They have a very fruity taste, but it's a very sharp heat as well. It's fairly unique, but they can get up there in terms of temperature. The ajicito, I believe, is one of the hottest Baccatums out there, and I think that's up in the 250,000 Scoville range, so that's pretty extreme. But most of them are around about 30 to 50,000 Scoville. A common dish would be the ají de gallina. This is delicious. A creamy Peruvian chicken stew that gets its color and flavor from ají amarillo peppers. Lastly, we have Capsicum Pubescens. Pubescens meaning hairy, and that's a great way to describe them because the stems and the leaves are both hairy or furry. And I love these plants. They are so unique in the general Capsicum genus, and they have some other unique characteristics as well. These can grow pretty massive. The leaves can get quite broad, and the flowers are typically this deep purple, and they are some of my favorite looking flowers on chili plants. The seeds are also pretty unique. They are black. Now, most chili seeds are white. If they're not, they're probably unhealthy. But with the Capsicum Pubescens, these chili seeds are black, and they're normally fairly large as well. The fruit are pretty large. They are very thick-skinned. Most of the time, they have a round shape to them. Very fruity and juicy, and yeah, it's just such a unique chili. If you're not growing any Capsicum Pubescens chilies, make sure you do go and get some seeds from them for next season because they are just beautiful, beautiful plants. So that's the 5 most common species of chilies out there today. There are some other very popular chilies as well. Increasing in popularity are the wild varieties, things like the Capsicum Chacoense or the Capsicum Galapagos, which I've actually grown both of those. The Galapagos is pretty cool because these are chilies that were grown on the Galapagos Islands. And they're tiny little things. They're really difficult to grow, really frustrating, but so rewarding once you can actually get them to fruit. These species, as well as many of the other 30 or so species of chilies, are really important for biodiversity and also for creating new and interesting chili varieties. I hope you enjoyed sharing my passion for these beautiful plants, and if you aren't yet growing them yourself, go and plant a seed or two next year and see what all the fuss is about. Just one word of caution, it's an addictive hobby, but so rewarding. Thank you so much for watching. I look forward to seeing you on the next video, and until then, stay spicy.